Oh, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and we are going to be looking at something scary, yes. 10 creepiest broadcast interruptions in history. Can you go close the door?
Why me?
Because you're Aubrey. That's why. Alright, let's get right into this.
Interruptions in history. So, most people think that television is kind of bland and watered down. Aside from the odd accidental swear word, nothing spontaneous ever seems to happen on live TV. Well, here are some times when TV and other broadcasts have been mysteriously hijacked and altered. Get ready to be creeped out and very, very confused. But before we get into it, why not subscribe?
I think a tick bit my penis. And the next one.
Sorry guys, you didn't know we were recording.
Second of all, I want to go outside.
We're reacting.
Subscribe and press the notification bell too.
Sorry.
Coming in at number 10 is Aliens. So this one took place in 1977 and was a live TV news interruption. One afternoon on the Southern Television Channel in the UK, Andrew Gardner was doing the news. However, all of a sudden things went odd. The image went distorted and then an odd voice began playing. The voice was from someone or something called Asteron, and he said he was part of the Intergalactic Association. Now, just for the record, there's apparently no such thing as the Intergalactic Association. Nevertheless, he delivered an odd message about society, humanity, and aliens. Asteron's message was rather cryptic to say the least, but it seemed to be about aliens and what humanity is doing wrong. Asteron continued his speech for 6 minutes until he was finished, and then he cut to Looney Tunes. The Southern Television Channel apologized afterwards, but they said they weren't sure who the guy was. The way he was able to get in was because Southern Television was not secured with a landline. This allowed their audio signal to be hacked, which allowed Asteron to deliver the strange message. At first, people thought it was someone who worked for a satellite company hacking the station. However, this was later found to be false. Back in 1977, it would have been very hard to hack a television station. And seeing as Asteron nor the Intergalactic Association were ever found out, some people blamed aliens for this. That's right, many said aliens tapped the signal to send humanity a message about alien existence. However, other more skeptical people say this was simply somebody with great hacking skills playing a prank. Listen to the audio and let me know what you think.
But, he says, there are conditions. These include stopping the execution of all captured prisoners of war, allowing Guerrero to take part in negotiations, being arrested. In Australia, Mr. Kerry Packer's cricketers are still pleading yesterday's High Court decision, which slipped down on them playing a test match.
What the?
This is the voice of Allah, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command.
That was creepy. That's creepy.
What the frig? What?
Next up is Captain Midnite. You may know Captain Midnite as the American superhero who used to be a radio drama in the 1940s. However, in 1986, HBO was hacked by somebody going by the pseudonym Captain Midnite. One afternoon, all was normal on the HBO channel. The movie Falcon and the Snowman was being shown, and millions of Americans were viewing it and having a good time. That was when all of a sudden the movie was interrupted by colourful bars. Then a message popped up on the screen. The message read, "Good evening HBO from Captain Midnite. $12.95 a month? No way. Showtime and Movie Channel? Beware." So it seems like somebody was complaining about how much you have to pay to get HBO. The message was on screen for about 5 minutes until HBO finally got the movie back on screen. In the bizarre message, it seemed to hint at Showtime and the Movie Channel being the next targets of this hacker. That was what caused the FCC to investigate this to stop any future hacks. It didn't take long before the FCC tracked down John R. McDougal. He was the man behind the pseudonym Captain Midnite. He was caught in a pretty dumb way as well. The way they found out about him doing the hack was because somebody overheard him boasting about it in a phone box in his hometown in Florida. However, John wasn't some kind of master hacker. You see, he worked as a controller for a satellite company which controlled HBO's satellite dish. But why did John do this? Well, before he was a satellite controller, he was a satellite dish installer. However, he was fired from this job after HBO's service rates went up. This caused him to not make any money from satellite dish installations, which is why he wrote the bad message. After being tracked down by the FCC very easily, he was arrested and charged. He was sentenced to 1 year in prison and a $5,000 fine. That's $1,000 for every minute he interrupted the movie.
Okay.
$2.95 a month. No time. Oh, no way.
The steak is trying to get me.
Next up is Russia. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the past few years, we
Oh,
all
I've
know
heard
that
of
Russia
this
has
one.
been accused of a lot of hacking. They've been accused of hacking things from Facebook to secretly hacking elections. However, this is one Russian hack which isn't so secret. And there's no denying that this one took place, as it was recorded live on TV. One day, Maxim Waiters from the Securities and Exchange Commission was talking on C-SPAN. That was when all of a sudden their broadcast was hijacked by Russia Today. Russia Today is the state-owned media channel in Russia. And instead of showing Maxim Waiters on C-SPAN, it showed Russia Today's programming for 10 whole minutes. After the 10 minutes, it went back to C-SPAN, but it left viewers at home dumbfounded. Now, some say this could be a routing error. And at the time, C-SPAN themselves tweeted saying they expected that to be the case. However, many other people, including some C-SPAN employees, tweeted that they'd been hacked by Russia. And with all the talks of Russia hacking elections in the USA, some...
Oh my god, bro, I can't freaking see.
I know. Are you gonna be
And
okay?
my fingers are my hard in that.
Ow. You're crushing a piggy.
Two, that's two. That's two.
Oh, yeah, that's right volume.
No.
That's two. You were right.
No thumbs, no finger. God, peeps.
say Russia was behind this TV hack. It's not clear why they would want to do this, perhaps to make America look bad, or maybe to leave them uninformed as to what Maxine Waiters was trying to say. Could this have been a cover-up of something she was going to say? Or was this Putin trying to make America look weak and show Americans Russian propaganda? Perhaps not, and it really was just a routing error, but who knows? What do you think about this very mysterious broadcast interruption?
And literally obliterate.
Next up is Mystery Faces. So this one is
That sounds
incredibly
creepy.
scary and unsettling. In 2007, ABC showed something very strange. Out of nowhere, an old grainy photo of an elderly couple popped up on screen for a few seconds. The photos are nightmare fuel and look very unsettling. They remained on screen for around 7 seconds before it went back to regular programming. Now that would be strange on its own, but what's even stranger is nobody knows who these people are or where the photos are from. However, they look very sinister and unsettling. Now, ABC claims it was simply a glitch and the faces are frames from Oprah. However, these people do not look like Oprah or anyone who's ever on Oprah. This has led to many people saying that ABC was simply covering this up. Perhaps ABC don't even know who these people are. Or perhaps they do and they were covering up something more sinister. I've done a lot of digging on this, but nobody knows who these people are or where the image is from. This legitimately seems to be one of the biggest broadcasting mysteries of all time. What do you think the deal with these faces is? One thing's for sure, the photos are nightmare fuel. And if I was Oprah, I wouldn't exactly be flattered being compared to one of these guys.
If you agree with
Next
that,
up is zombie apocalypse.
What?
So, we're used to hearing of zombie apocalypses in movies and TV shows. Well, I'm sure we would never expect a zombie apocalypse to actually happen in real life. Well, in 2013 in Montana, some people believed it had. During one showing of the Steve Wilkos show on KRTV in Montana, there was an alert saying a zombie apocalypse was underway. There was an alert sound with a very convincing audio file of a man saying a zombie apocalypse was happening. They said to stay inside and follow instructions on the screen. Now, you may think people assumed this was a joke. But no, most people in Montana actually believed this was real. Now it seems crazy and you may be laughing at these people, but if this alert came up on your TV, you might believe it too. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
just
would
imagine,
believe
it would be pretty scary and you wouldn't assume your TV station was being hacked. It didn't take long before 911 received thousands of calls about a zombie apocalypse. This
Oh,
caused
really?
KTR to quickly
But the
debunk
real
this and
government
say they got
wouldn't tell you
hacked.
it was a zombie
It's not clear why
apocalypse.
the hacker did what they did, but they assume it was
They
a
would just say
joke.
stay
The strange
inside
thing
and
is,
stuff.
the FBI investigated this and they confirmed the hack wasn't coming from America, but from abroad. Some say this was someone who knows more than we do sending a message, while others say it was simply a joke. But what do you think?
Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living. Follow the messages on screen that will be updated as information becomes available. Do not attempt to approach or apprehend these bodies as they are considered extremely dangerous.
Next up is Max Headroom. So, for those who don't know, Max Headroom is a fictional AI character created in
Oh my
Britain.
God. Oh my god.
What?
I've heard of this.
He was first made in 1984 and appeared in the movie Max Headroom 20 Minutes into the Future. Well, in 1987,
This
the
is
same...
so scary. Oh, come on. Yeah, that's Fortnite. Yeah, I have...
Headroom 20 minutes into the future. Well, in 1987, the same character was used for one of the creepiest broadcast interruptions in history. Somebody dressed in a Max Headroom mask first tried to interrupt Doctor Who. However, that didn't work. A few hours later, during the news on a Chicago TV station, the transmission was distorted. All of a sudden, somebody in a Max Headroom mask popped up on screen wearing sunglasses. The video was very distorted and the camera was swaying from left to right. In the background was a sheet of metal, which is similar to the real background of Max Headroom. The hacking was taking place live, as the guy called one of the news pundits a frickin' liberal and a frickin' nerd. He then began screaming, laughing, and moaning. This went on for a while, and then the guy began saying product phrases. He even said the Coca-Cola ad slogan while holding a can of Pepsi. This may be because Max Headroom used to be the mascot for New Coke. He then called out some more Chicago-based media outlets, and even called a few journalists newspaper nerds. Some say this was simply a joke, while others say it was something more sinister. However, this hack was never caught, despite hacking into the TV station twice. It's since gone down as one of the most bizarre signal intrusions
It's because
ever.
we're in like a super dark room and there's only
Maybe you
one.
should turn the light on.
That's creepy.
Next up is God. So this one is very bizarre, and it took place on the Playboy channel. One day on the Playboy channel, there was a movie.
I'm going to.
No. You're tattletale. You're just tattletaling on me.
No, I'm
For
not.
what? Because I'm looking at the screen.
You were like,
Okay. So,
that was creepy.
it's on video. You just... Yeah, that was on video, so... Why can't you look at the screen?
called Three Daughters on. Now, as you can imagine from the title, what was going on in the movie was less than holy. But that was when the movie's naughty viewers got an unexpected message from God. The message from God appeared on a black background in white text. It claimed to be from God himself and said, "Remember the Sabbath." There were then some other Bible verses from Matthew. Now, you may be thinking this is very strange, and it is. However, you may also laugh at this and assume it was a joke. I mean, why would God want to hack Playboy channel? Well, it turned out to not be a joke at all. In fact, it was somebody with a pretty clear motive. One man named Thomas Haney from a Christian TV network was found to be behind the hijacking. Now, the Christian network he worked for denied this, however he was charged with 2 years in jail. He was also given 100 hours of community service and had to pay a $100 fine. However, he was able to preach God's word to an unexpected audience, so maybe he got what he wanted. It's funny, as one might assume this was a prank. However, somebody actually wanted to stop people from watching this movie and to remember the Sabbath instead. I'm sure whoever experienced this hijacking will never forget the Sabbath now. Next up is UVB-76. So this is an incredibly eerie and unexplained broadcast. Ever since 1982, something called the buzzer can be heard from Moscow, Russia. It's a constant buzzing which changes pitch 25 times a day, all day. In case you don't know what a number station is, it's a way to send coded messages through transmissions. Now, the buzz itself is incredibly ghostly, but it does actually have a meaning. However, it's a coded meaning which only Russian spies would know about. Occasionally, the buzzing is interrupted by a voice in Russian. However, the voice simply says seemingly random letters and names, such as Dmitry and Vladimir. It's pretty obvious there's some kind of code going on.
Михаил, Дмитрий, Женя, Борис. Михаил, Дмитрий, Женя, Борис. 85, 343. Константин, Роман, Иван, Николай.
Now, the Russian government deny this being in existence. However, many explorers have actually gone to the site of UVB-76 in Russia. So it definitely does exist, however those who have explored there say it's abandoned. But this simply doesn't make sense, as it's still broadcast all over Europe and a Russian voice can be heard from time to time. What do you think is going on with UVB-76? And what do you think the secret messages really mean? Is it sinister orders towards spies? Or could it be something even more bizarre?
14,
Yeah.
28-71.
Next up is political hijacking. So, TV is a great way to get messages across, and that includes political messages. I'm sure we'll remember the political ads during the US election. Well, here is an example of an ad being forced onto the air. One day back in the 1980s, a Polish state TV station was hacked. During a news transmission, a communist political party named Solidarity hijacked the station. They then delivered a message about workers' rights and prices of food. You see, the Polish government had recently increased food prices, but not wages of workers. This meant many poor Polish people were starving and hungry. That was when Solidarity knew enough was enough, so they hijacked the station. A text message on screen came up saying enough price increases, lies and oppression. Then another message told people to boycott the upcoming election. And while they did support Solidarity, it turns out they weren't even a part of them. They were actually two university students studying astrology in Toruń University in Poland. However, after being rightfully outraged by the government, they decided to hack the news. Even so, this is a very mysterious and kind of eerie hacking. Let me know if you think a hacking like this will ever take place in America.
You still have the rash? I don't.
How do you get a rash?
Whoa, what the?
Next up is Naughty Hijacker. So this is actually two hijackings which many people say were committed by the same guy. One day during a showing of Handy Manny, the Disney Channel was hacked. Now of course, being the Disney Channel, many kids were watching. That's why it's pretty troubling to know that an X-rated video was shown over Handy Manny. It was shown for quite a while and only happened to Comcast customers. Comcast apologized for this and said it would never happen again. However, they were wrong. Just weeks later, the same thing happened once again. During coverage of the Super Bowl of all things, the same clip was shown again. Of course, many families were watching the Super Bowl and they all saw the X-rated video in front of their very eyes. Yikes, just imagine being in the room with your parents while watching that. Talk about an awkward Super Bowl Sunday. Now, some people think this is pretty funny and was simply a hacker joking around. However, some say the intention is much darker. A few say they're trying to corrupt children. A few say the intent was to corrupt children, as this was shown on Disney Channel and the Super Bowl, where kids may be watching. But what do you think? Was this all one big joke or something much more sinister?
What year?
Check out the poll in the top right corner and vote for the most mysterious broadcast interruption in history. And be sure to check out my second channel too. There'll be a link to that on screen in a moment, so click the link to check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.
If I hit exit full screen, it would start recording.
Secret photos from Area 51.
Alright, then I just need to see that.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 secret photos from inside Area 51. So, for those who don't know, Area 51 is a US Air Force base located in Nevada. It's way out in the desert and it's very mysterious. But this isn't just any old Air Force base. I'm sure most of you already know, but Area 51 has many claims of aliens inside it. And there's even been some crazy, not very famous photos of inside the place which may suggest the rumors are true. So check out these insane photos and let me know if you think Area 51 is just a regular Air Force base, if it's hiding aliens or something even more crazy. But before you get a knock on your door from the CIA, be sure to subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 we have UFOs from above. So this one was taken from an airplane. It wasn't someone who was particularly going to Area 51 or anything. They just happened to be flying over it in the Nevada desert. They said everything was normal when all of a sudden they saw this. As you can see, there are clusters of about 8 flashing lights. The guy who took the photo said these lights flashed around the base for a while. He's got no idea what they could be. Some people online said they could be testing secret Air Force technology. Another said they could be testing out alien spaceships. There are many true stories of Area 51 investigating UFOs. For example, the famous Roswell incident. That was where somebody saw a UFO crashed. But before people could get there, these mysterious flashing lights could be. Coming up next is Dad and Alien. So, we all know the story of American Dad. It's where a government agent is hiding an alien. Now, of course, that's just a cartoon, but perhaps it's based on a true story. One day, a man named Alan Lewis's father passed away. His father worked in the US Air Force, and when Alan was a kid, his dad told him he worked in the Black Ops arena. But after his dad passed away, Alan was cleaning his house and found this. As you can see, there's a photograph of his dad in uniform posing with an alien. This is supposedly taken in an aircraft hangar at Area 51 where he worked. And the background does seem to be from an aircraft hangar. This seems incredibly incredibly realistic. And as Alan pointed out, if you look in the bottom right hand corner of the container, there's an Area 51 badge. Now this is clearly incredibly creepy, and that is 100% his dad, and this is not fake. So what was going on here? Was his dad really hiding aliens this entire time? I'd say this is one of the most convincing photos of aliens in Area 51. But if you still don't believe, stay tuned, because we've got some more. Next up is Sideways UFO. So this is yet another UFO caught on camera above Area 51. Some people were out in the desert checking out the area. That was when all of a sudden they saw something strange near Area 51. Hovering above the base in the Nevada desert was this. It seems to be a grey pod with a light on it. But if you were to rotate this photo vertically, you'll see it looks like an alien UFO. Perhaps the grey part is the outside and the lights are windows. It's very odd that this thing's pointing upwards. Some have said it could be an Air Force piece of technology. That of course could be the case, but I've never seen anything like this. So what do you think this is? An Air Force plane, a UFO, or something else? Next up is leaked UFOs. So this one is very strange, and that is because it's an official government photo from inside Area 51. This was taken decades ago when Area 51 first opened up. As you can see, there are many aircraft hangars and personnel, and there are also two normal looking Air Force planes. But can you notice those two massive flying saucers? Some have said that these are alien spacecrafts, but if you look closely, they actually say USAF, which means US Air Force. So perhaps these are secret planes the US Air Force didn't want us to know about. Maybe that's the explanation for all of these UFO sightings. Could they have just been US Air Force planes? Or perhaps they just released this photo to make it sound like that. Maybe they were UFOs and the US is trying to cover it up. What do you think? Could these be the UFOs everyone seems to see? Or are these US Air Force planes separate from all the UFOs? I have to say, this photo raises millions of questions. I sure would love to be one of those guys in the photo so I could snoop around Area 51 and uncover the truth. Next up is Spaceship Stealers. A few years back, this photo was taken from CCTV. The owner of a parking garage released it. Not knowing what was going on. It appears to be two men either stealing or moving a spaceship. But the scary thing is, this was taken just a few miles away from Area 51. Could these guys have stolen a spaceship from Area 51? Some say that that's the case. Others say this could be employees of Area 51 moving a spaceship to the base. But would they really be dumb enough to be caught out in public with a spaceship? Who knows? Either way, this photo is very strange. Sure, if this happened in any other part of the world, it wouldn't be that odd. But the fact it was taken right next to Area 51 raises a lot of questions. Let me know what you think's going on here. Next up is transportation. So this is another photo taken around the time of Area 51 first opening up. Of course, many things like buildings were built on the site, but according to these archival photos, some strange things were brought in. As you can see, there are two vehicles here carrying massive things. I'm not sure what they are as they're covered up, but some say hidden inside are many aliens or UFOs. One thing's for sure, they wanted to conceal what was inside here. They literally have a massive reinforced building on the back of that truck. And if you're thinking these are just other cars in the background, then you'd be wrong. This is actually a convoy filled with security and the US Air Force. What do you think these massive containers were carrying? I guess they could be military planes, but usually military planes are transported through the air. Of course they wouldn't transport a UFO through the air though, as they wouldn't want it to be seen. So I guess the most logical method would be locking it in a massive reinforced box. I mean, why else would they have all of this security? Either way, this photo is very mysterious. Next up is photo evidence. So we've already seen the photo of Alan Lewis's dad with an alien in Area 51. Well, this is another collection of photos and stories from an insider. This guy is called Boyd Bushman. He was an engineer for Lockheed Martin, which makes all of the things the US Air Force uses. Back in the day, he was an Area 51 scientist. But when he was 78, he made a deathbed confession. He made the confession to an aerospace engineer named Mark Q. Patterson. He said he saw many aliens in Area 51 and had photos to prove it. He said aliens tend to be around 4 to 5 feet tall. He also said they have 3 backbones. And the most amazing thing is he said they're able to communicate telepathically. Now, these are big claims, but he had photos to back it up. As you can see, he's got some very realistic photos he took of inside Area 51. He waited until the moments before he passed away at age 78 to say this. That was because he said he was worried about the government. Trying to sabotage him or take his life. He also drew some sketches from inside the Area 51 base, which are very scary. I'll leave a link to the full half-hour interview with him in the description below. But be warned, it's very, very scary. Some say these photos were faked, but they seem very realistic to me. Next up is Alien. So this is another very realistic photo of an alien in Area 51. This alien is said to be in an operating room in Area 51, and it was taken by a scientist who was doing an experiment with it. I'm not sure on all of the details on this photo as it was released anonymously. That is because whoever did release it doesn't want to be tracked down by the government for exposing this. As you can see, it's crazy realistic. And it seems aliens really do share a big resemblance to humans. Do you think this photo could be real or is it a fake? In the background you can see many medical and operating devices, so it seems pretty real to me. But right now we simply don't know. Next up is hovering aircraft. So this is another photo of a hovering aircraft over Area 51. It was taken out by somebody in the Nevada desert. They were shocked when they saw this massive object hovering over the airbase. It's much bigger than the other UFOs from before. Seeing as it was taken from very far away, just imagine how big this thing is close up. It kind of looks like the same shape as the thing they were transporting before. Could this be some kind of secret Air Force technology? Or perhaps it's a real life UFO? It doesn't exactly look like the shape of a typical UFO, as most of those are circular. But maybe this is a new kind of UFO that nobody's ever seen before. Let me know what you think. Personally, I have no idea. Up next on the list is aliens. So we've seen photographs of singular aliens before, but this is a room in Area 51 which apparently holds many aliens. As you can see laid out are tons of tables, and on those tables in the photos are 4 aliens. We can see 4 in the image, but who knows how many more there could be. It looks all very futuristic and was taken years ago. The aliens look very similar to the ones in the other photos, and the low lighting may suggest they were taken in one of the Air Force hangars. Many say this is the most convincing Area 51 alien photo in the world. I have to say it does look very authentic. It's not taken from a movie or anything, as people have checked the authenticity of this image. So either somebody set up an entire room full of aliens just for this one photo, or this is real. I'm not sure who would go to the trouble of doing all that for one fake image. But unfortunately we can't say for sure just yet. Do you think these images are proof enough of aliens or not? I'm not saying they're 100% proof, but they're sure.
Alright, bye peeps. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Wait, no. I'll see you tomorrow morning at school. Oh my god. My vacation is over, guys. My vacation is over. My vacation. Ah!
That was my stomach. I'm hungry.
Alright, bye. Bye, guys.